Good morning, good morning, good morning. Are you having a great day so far? I hope so. I'm Charlie Newton, and this is Splash Live Studio, and I'm so happy to be here for another Splash Art class. Kids age 6 to 96 might be able to benefit from this class because we're going to be very, very creative today. And we're going to draw simple shapes using circles, squares, and triangles. And I'm going to show you how you can use those three simple shapes and make a landscape. You're going to have to be very creative today. But before we get into that, kids, I want to talk to you about please remember to wear your mask. And I have a question for you. Is this the way you wear a mask? Yes? No? I mean, I have my mask on, right? What? No? Okay, what about this? If I can find my ear. How about this? I have my mask on. Now I'm wearing my mask. Is that right? Is that safe? How many say yes? Raise your hand if no. No? What about this? Okay. Oh, so this is how I'm supposed to do it. Let me put in my nose bridge because I'm going to squeeze that because I have glasses on. And my glasses tend to fog up. And I can't see anything. Okay. If you wear a mask that way, then you can protect grandma and grandpa and pawpaw and mamaw and cousin and uncles and me and you and other children, even babies. Okay? So remember to wear your mask and stay 6 feet apart until this COVID-19, this pandemic is over with. So everybody can stay safe and happy, and we're going to think on the things of our neighbor. We're going to protect our neighbor, okay? Okay, I know Splash Kids will because you guys are awesome. Okay, let's see what we're going to do today. So today you're going to need some watercolors. We're going to do a mixed medium painting. So you're going to need watercolors and you're going to need some crayons. Okay? If you are a Splash student, you will have some craypas, which is pastels. These are oil pastels. Do not use the chalk pastels because it won't work, okay? You'll get something totally different. And so the reason why we're going to use the pastels, you can see my pastels are well used, is because they are very waxy, very oily, and oil and water don't mix. So that's what we want. Even the crayons, if you pull out a crayon and touch it, you can see it's very shiny when you look at it, and it's waxy, like a candle. And if I mix the crayon with water, then the crayon is going to resist the water. And that's what we want. We want to resist. So we're going to use either pastels or crayons because we need the oil that's in the material, and watercolors. We're going to draw with crayons first. I'll tell you what, let's draw with a pencil first because a lot of you are familiar with a pencil. So we'll use a pencil first, and then we will color with the crayons, and then we will paint with the watercolors, okay? So 3 steps. We'll draw with a pencil. Now, get your HB pencil, and when you draw, don't press down on the paper. A H pencil or a HB or a 2H, as long as your pencil has an H on it. If you don't have drawing pencils, you can use a regular 2B writing pencil that you use it in school. But just don't press down on the paper, okay? Draw lightly. I'm going to draw a little heavy so that you can see what I'm doing. So the first thing I'm going to do, we're going to draw a house, and we're going to try to be very simple. We're going to draw a simple house, and for your training, I want you to try to draw your house the same way I'm drawing mine. Even though you try to draw it like mine, since you are an individual, it will not look exactly like my picture, and that's great. That's okay. As a matter of fact, that's awesome. Okay, wait just a minute. Okay, so now what I want you to do, we're going to look at the middle of the sheet of paper. We're going to look at the middle of the paper. Okay. We're going to look at the middle of the paper, and let's put a square right in the center. Try to make it 4 equal sides. It don't have to be perfect. Now, so this square is going to represent the front of our house. Now, what I want to do right next to that square, we're going to butt a triangle up against that square. Not triangle, I'm sorry, a rectangle. I'm thinking too fast. A rectangle, not a triangle. Right up against the left side of the square. The left side, not the right side. Now this will be, the square is going to be the front of the house, and the rectangle is going to be the side of the house. Okay, on top of the square, we're going to place a triangle. The bottom of the triangle is going to be the top line of the square. One line curves in, leans in to the right, one line leans in to the left. Now one day we will draw a realistic house, but what we're doing now is showing you how shapes can read like a real object in nature. Now, do you see the angle of this left side of the triangle, that line? We want to draw a line just like that at the end of your rectangle. I want the same height. This is so much fun. We're going to do the drawing, then we will color, and then we will paint. Now I want you to connect the top of this triangle with the top of this line that leans to the right. Like that. So you can see now we have the shape of a house. I like putting chimneys on the top of my houses, so in the back you can put the chimney anywhere you want to, front or back. Let's just put a chimney, a little rectangle, perpendicular. on the top of the house. Now we are using our imagination. So even if you are 4 or 5 years old, you can do this. It doesn't have to be perfect. The more you draw, the better you get. The main thing is that you have fun. If you want to, you can let some smoke come out of your chimney. I like to do smoke kind of like this. It almost looks like a cloud. Curvy lines that circle around and then meet. So that would be the smoke. And chimney smoke would be dark. So when you color, you can color it any way you want to. When we color these, you can use any colors that you want to use, okay? I like bright colors, and you might like bright colors too. Don't reach for black. Let's not use any black today. We will not use black. Remember, do not use black crayons and do not use black paint. If we need dark colors, we'll mix the colors. Now let's draw the door of the house. I'm going to try to put a rectangle, kind of like the chimney, but larger, in the middle of my house, like that, for a door. And put a little circle for a doorknob. I'm also going to put an arch, half circle on the top of my door. You can do your door any way you want to. Then I'm going to put 2 rectangles in the front for windows on either side of the door, both sides of the door. Then you can put a cross or plus mark or cross as windows. And you might decide to put window shades and things like that in it. I'm going to put some windows on the side of my house. I'm going to try to line those windows up, rectangles. I'm going to put 3. Try to make them the same size and the same distance from each other. And this is really a symbol for a house. If you do pretty well with these, what you can do is we'll do another house more realistic next time. Now, I want you to draw what's called a horizon line. We haven't talked about that before, but I want you to start from the left-hand side of your paper, draw a straight line up to the house, and stop where that house is. Imagine you're drawing the line through the house and start on the same line, same place on the other side of the house. So this is going to be the ground. Everything below this line is the ground. Everything above this line is going to be in the sky or higher than the house. In Tennessee, we have a lot of ridges. So let's draw a ridge back there. A ridge is not a mountain. It's smaller, much smaller than a mountain. It's like a huge hill, but it rolls it might come down like this, stop at the smoke, like that. Put a ridge back there. You may say it's a mountain. It's a mountain or a ridge. Got that? I'm going to let you catch up. Look at my picture. If you get lost, always look at my picture. Okay, I want a tree behind my house. I'm going to show you how to do one tree, one large tree, pretty large tree. Then you can do however many trees you want to. I'm going to start on the left-hand side. We're going to do like a double line, and I'll show you how to do that. Start at the bottom. We always draw trees from the bottom up, from the bottom to the top. So first I'm going to draw the roots of the tree. These are the roots. They come out like that, like this. Then the tree is wider, a little bit wider at the bottom than the trunk. Then you draw the trunk of the tree. See, we're not going to need this line later, but we'll color that out. We don't have to erase anything. And then this is a huge tree. Then the tree is going to branch off like this. This is a double line. One line follows the other. Then it gets smaller here. Then this line is going to go up like this. Then we can put branches on the tree. It's like little lines in your hands. Me, since I'm old, I have a bunch of lines in my hand, in the palm of my hand. Look at the lines in your hand. It's like drawing veins. We want these to be double lines. And then you can put leaves. Just do some little squiggly lines like this. They represent leaves. Every time you draw a little loop like that, like a little oval, that's a leaf. And you can do this fast. Now, if I draw a tree small and higher than this tree, it looks like it's in the background. So I'm drawing the same thing but small. See? Draw the roots. So I draw this one higher than that, not lower, and make it much smaller than this, and it looks like it's in the distance. Don't worry about the ridge. It's okay if we can see that line. We are overlapping. I'm drawing behind these two lines here. Now, you can put, let's draw a bush. I like drawing bushes next to my house. Just looping lines. Now, once we finish the drawing, you're going to color. And once you color, after you finish coloring, then you're going to paint. I want to draw a sidewalk leading from the door of my house. Watch how I do this. I'm not going to draw the line straight down like that. See how I'm laying my pencil? That won't look 3D. I want it to look three-dimensional or realistic, sort of. So I'm going to draw that line at an angle. So lay your pencil on your paper at an angle, like a triangle, like one side of a triangle. That's the direction that your path is going to go. You're going to have two lines, and it gets wider as it goes down your paper. So they start at the bottom of the door, and then they get wider like a triangle, slightly wider, very slowly. And then when I do that, I'm going to stop it like that, and then draw a straight line across like that. So this is going to be the street, this part down here. You can make your street any way you want to. I'm going to not draw everything because I want you to become a little bit more creative. Go back up here to your door, and I'm just going to draw some straight lines, just straight across, just like that. But they're going to get a little wider as we go down to the bottom of our path. And that makes it look like you can walk down this path to the door. So they're closer together when you get to the door. Now what I want you to do is draw some more trees and bushes. I'm going to draw a bush here at the front of the yard. A bush can be drawn like a little small tree. See, I can put a little trunk there and put some little branches for a bush. Okay, I want you to continue drawing. We're going to color in about 5 minutes. So just like in class, I will give the kids the time because it's easy to get lost. Now when you are by yourself drawing and painting, please take your time. Don't rush it. The slower you go, the better your drawing will be. Okay? I'm going to draw a hedge here. You ever see houses that, or you could draw a picket fence. Do what you want to. I'm going to draw a hedge. That's going to be like a straight, a wavy line. Then it's going to come down like that to the street. And I'm going to put some little marks for bushes, okay? In the background, you can, if you draw something like that, it looks like trees in the background. You can draw some more bushes. You could draw a bunch of trees. Once you learn how to draw something, then you don't have to spend a whole lot of time because we're going to color this. Some of you might draw like a little animal. In the front yard. Maybe a dog. A little puppy. What's his name? Maybe Spot. Okay. I don't know what he's doing. So put anything on your picture you want to put on your picture. I'm going to put some clouds in the sky. You can have birds flying in the sky, any way you want to. And then you're going to get your pastels. Most of the coloring today will be done with the pastels. Okay. Are you ready to color yet? I can just see some of you. I'll tell you, I'm gonna wait before we start coloring a couple of more minutes because some of you are still drawing. And I'm just going to draw a little bit more. I'm going to put some little marks in my street so the cars will know what lane to be in. Oh, grass. Put some little hatch marks for grass. I wish you would, you can message me and send me your pictures, take a photograph and message me so I can see what you did. For Splash students, by the way, I have to see what you did before we can give you more art supplies the next semester. In November, I'm wanting to paint with tempera paints. And maybe on larger paper, but I need to know how many students are going to want to paint. So when you send me your drawings and your paintings, I'll know that you are participating, and I'll know what we uh, will have to do, because we have to raise funds. We have to get money to buy art supplies. Okay, the mic is back on. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Okay, just use whatever colors you want to. Sorry for the little technical difficulty. I got it. I got it. I had bumped into my camera and everything. We lost sound, so we tried to fix that. But it's kind of like what happens in art. When we fix our mistakes, Splash students know that we don't worry about trying to be so perfect. We worry about doing our best. So my best may not be your best, and your best may not be my best. But we just do our best. You see how I'm using a weird color for the background, for the mountain? You don't have to, you can use whatever colors you want to, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm drawing with pastels now. Notice how heavy they are. In a minute, I'll use some crayons again. See how fast I'm drawing? I want you to draw this fast. It's just like me. And I'm leaving paper. You see that? Leave some paper because the paint is going to stick to the paper. I'm going to use brown for this tree. I'm going to leave some paper. But I'm not going to use brown for all the trees. So don't worry about when you make mistakes. Sometimes, well, first of all, everybody makes mistakes. There's no person on planet Earth that don't make mistakes. And we make more mistakes than anything else. All the time we are making mistakes. We learn from our mistakes, hopefully. It's awesome when you can learn from your mistakes because that's how you become an expert. Nobody starts off being an expert. So now I'm going to use some crayons. Now, in using these crayons, I'm trying to find wild colors. I'm pressing down very hard now. This is fun. What I'm trying to do is make a beautiful picture. These are not trees, these are lines. This is an abstract drawing really of a tree and a house. Very abstract. You can't get much more abstract than this. But somehow abstracts seem to have more meaning these days. If you was with me on Thursday, talking about Kandinsky, I reminded us that abstract art was created 100 years ago. So there's some people who don't understand abstract art. It's just because they don't study art. You don't have to understand everything to enjoy it. If you see it, you like it, that's good enough. But some of us love it. So since I love art, I went to school and studied art. When you love something, you put everything into it. But whatever you do, I'm going to tell you something that my father taught me. Do what you want to do in life, but whatever you do, always do your best. Whatever you do, give it your all. Just get used to doing your best. I'm tracing these pencil lines with green. Now, this is a time that I actually want to use black, but I'm not going to because I told you not to use black. But I like how these green lines work with this hot pinks and yellows. I like that. See, I have crayons again, and I'm drawing over my yellow pastel with my green crayon. It makes for an interesting effect too, because crayons, it's hard to draw over pastels with crayons. Now what we're going to do, we're going to finish this drawing in crayons and pastels, and then we're going to paint. And when you paint, you're going to have to be very careful to watch what's happening when you place your colors down. Now, I'd suggest that you use a dark color to trace your drawing of your house. A dark color, I mean like blue or purple, just so that we can see those lines later on. I'm going to use purple crayon. I'm going to trace the chimney. You could use any color to trace, but you don't want to lose your picture when you paint it. So that's why you should trace. Take the time to trace. It would make a huge difference for some of your drawings. Remember, press down firmly with your crayon, but don't break the crayon. Don't press so hard that you break it. Speaking of breaking crayons, I rarely use a sharpener for crayons. I just turn the crayon to use the edge of the point. And by doing that, you become a better drawer or draftsman. I have a little dog. His name is Chester. I think I had some of his hair in this crayon. Okay, here's my little dog. I'm going to trace my little dog. I had forgotten about him or her. Little puppy. We're going to trace this line. You see how tracing with the dark, you see how the picture is showing back up? You want to do that. I'm even going to trace the mountain in the background. And my trees. You may use blue. You could trace with red. Any color that shows up is fine. I just decided to use purple. You could use more than one color to trace with. Now I'm going to paint. If you don't finish by the time we go finish this live feed, just keep working until you finish. Okay, so you see I have paper left. Painting this is very easy. I'm not going to use black. Remember, do not use black. I'm going to use some light colors and thin paint. I think I want the paint to be thin. I think I'm still tracing, right? I'm still tracing. Because when I paint, I want my crayons and my pastels to show through. So I've lost my little marks for my street. I'm going to trace that back in. I think I may lose those because I'll probably paint over it without thinking. So you see I still have paper. You can still see paper in the background, well, between my color, right? That's good. So I didn't color everything solid. Some of you will do better than me. A lot of times my students are better than me when it comes to these exercises. And I learn from my students too. Sometimes you come up with ideas and I say, man, that's great. That's a great idea. And artists, we steal ideas all the time, okay? Maybe I shouldn't use the word steal. We borrow ideas. All the time. Now remember that the sky don't have to be blue. It could be any color you want it to be. The grass don't have to be green, because this is art. And it's all about being creative. So we use triangles and squares and rectangles and lines to make this picture. Next, you're going to get a brush. You can get, this is called a flat, or you could use a bright brush. And choose your colors wisely. You want a color that's going to contrast your crayon. So let's think about this. If I'm going to paint something behind this yellow, I could use red. I could use any color beneath this dark purple here. So I'm going to start with a little red behind this yellow. Now, orange. So I dip, let me show you what I'm doing. I'm dipping my paintbrush in water. and I'm making my paint very wet. I want my paint sort of thin so I can put a wash on here.
Charlie,
Yes.
Isla wants to know, why did you color the street blue?
I don't know. Isla, I'm just being creative. You can color the street any color you want it to be. It could be gray or black or whatever color you want it to be, because you're the artist. This is your world. Your picture is your world. And you can make your world any way you want it to. Now watch this. I hope you can see this. See, I'm putting the orange underneath the yellow, barely touching the paper. I'm not rubbing the paint in. It's very light. And I'm letting the yellow show through. I'm taking my time. You can go fast or slow doing this, but your paint needs to be thin. The more water you put into your paint, the thinner it's going to be. But you should be able to see the color. It shouldn't be so thin that you can't see through it. But we want the colors, the wax, the crayons to show through. So you have to watch closely what you're doing. That was a good question, Isla. So when choosing colors, this is what makes us individuals. We all do things differently. Now I'm going to use, I don't know what color. What color should I use next? If I had white, I would actually use white. I'm going to use green. Now you don't have to make the grass green, but I'm going to color my grass green. I'm going to make sure I don't paint the little doggy. The next time we may do a landscape on Tuesday. I don't know, it may be more realistic to show you how you can make your landscapes look real. You can also post your pictures on Facebook for me, on my page. Sure can. So you can message me or post your pictures on Facebook. I really want to see what you're doing. This I'm using red, but next to this blue, it looks like Kool-Aid. It's like I spilled Kool-Aid. You have to keep dipping my brush in the water. Now, when I change my colors, I always clean my brush off. Looks just like Kool-Aid or blood. I know somebody was thinking that, so that's why I said it. You could also use one color. You could have gone over your entire picture with one color. Put some blue on my pink roof. Just get creative. So I know that the green is going to stand out against this blue. Put some blue here. I think I'm just going to put blue everywhere else. I'm going to put blue everywhere. I could have just used one color. I could have used black even and painted the whole thing with black. It would have been harder to make it work because sometimes black is so overpowering that it could have covered up the crayons. But luckily, I put enough pressure on my crayons and I have my paint thin enough that everything's working the way I want it to. Excuse me. If you want white, like I'm going to let the smoke be white, so I'm not going to paint the smoke. I'm going to let these clouds be white, so I'm not going to paint those clouds. But that water's old. I just drank some 3-day-old water. Don't do that. I said I'm going to make everything else blue, so I'm going to stick to my guns. I have a blue painting. How's yours coming? I'm going to bring the blue down into the grass that I had painted green. I'm glad you're doing this painting with me so that next time we can do a painting a little bit more complex, and we're going to have some real fun with these abstract landscapes, because I want to show you how an abstract painting can be created just from using shapes. And the more detail you put into the abstract, the more realistic the painting will become. I'm thinking I'm going to bring some more blue down into this red parking lot too. We will be on again on Tuesday. We'll be on again on Tuesday. I'm still painting. On Tuesday at 5 o'clock. Oh, don't forget, you can use your crayons. When your picture dries, use your pastel or crayons and put your name in the lower right hand or lower left hand corner. Very important, very important. And then put your age. So, this has been abstract painting, landscape painting, and we use abstract forms. I hope that you will join me on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. and Saturdays at 11 a.m. And let's have fun with art. Until next time, this has been Charlie Newton with Splash Live. And remember, art is for everyone. Now let's go back to work.